Conservative politicians will be knighted for their public service today at Windsor Castle. Among them will be Sir Gavin Williamson. Now, he was recommended by Boris Johnson in 2022, despite twice being sacked as a cabinet minister and facing accusations of bullying, which he denied. Also being knighted is Theresa May's former Brexit secretary, Sir David Davis. And then there's Sir Philip Davis, who was recommended by Rishi Sunak while sitting as an MP. Now, he was dragged into that whole election betting scandal for allegedly, and quite correctly, wagering £8,000 that he would lose his seat. Now, he denied having done anything illegal. But the question really is, do current and former MPs deserve the ultimate honour just for doing their job? Cristo.
I don't mind MPs getting knighthoods. I think that it's an absolutely fair point, and I can feel your eyes on me, Nina. I can feel it's coming, that some of them are slightly questionable choices, shall we say, and I think it's absolutely reasonable for people to say, look, why has this person got one? But the idea that because of a few questionable choices, we say to people who perhaps have served in government, who have had ministerial posts, who have been really credible public servants, we say to them that none of them can ever get knighthoods. I think that that's throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
But isn't the honour being voted to be an MP, being asked to represent your constituency, isn't that in fact the honour? And then even further, being honoured to be in a cabinet and given that sort of position. You don't need an honour any further than that. If you do your job well, good. That is your job.
And if you're going into becoming an MP hoping to get a knighthood at the end of it, well then, yeah, I would agree. That's not the most honourable reason to go into becoming an MP. But if you have, and perhaps we need to look at the threshold of who gets honours a little bit more closely. I'm not against that. But if you have been a good public servant, if you have been someone that has served in the House of Commons, if you have been someone that has done that, if you've been a really great constituency MP, then I think getting that recognition, I don't have a problem with it. Where I think, as I say, there's a fair point is if it's someone who has not been particularly honourable or has been caught into a scandal. So I'd like to maybe see the threshold change rather than the idea that you can never get an honour if you've been an MP.
Do you have any problem with these three MPs getting an honour, Nina?
Just clear my throat before I start. The idea that Gavin Williamson, of all people, should be ennobled in this way is an absolute farce and a disgrace. It is grotesque that a man who was the worst education secretary, who certainly didn't enhance, ruined the lives of so many of our school children during the pandemic, who, when he was a defence minister, told, I don't know if it was right, go away and shut up. This is not somebody that should be taken seriously in any way. And he appointed by Boris Johnson. And the only reason I think, and somebody can argue with me on this, is that that Boris Johnson has ennobled him in this way, is that Gavin Williamson knew as a chief whip and knows where all the bodies were buried.
There's lots of accusations that Gavin Williamson knows where the bodies are buried, and that's why he keeps being put into quite high positions. But that said, an independent body checks these things. The King then has to sign them off. There's quite a lot of checks and balances before they actually get to be honoured. And so maybe they need to be tightened up if we're all sitting there scratching our heads thinking, why on earth has this been happening?
Well, exactly. But that's why, it's a political thing. That's why, the fact of the matter is these are political appointments, and there will be all sorts of wheels and levers and, backhanders and elbowing. And so this is, if it's a kind of a normal thing for an MP to be ennobled in this way, then as you say, the standards slip, and strings are pulled and people slip through the net like this. And, Philip Davis, another one, the betting thing. I mean, that's outrageous. Have you ever met the man?
No. But do slipped standards on some of the choices, which I agree. I mean, you said someone can argue about you with this. I'm not going to argue with you about the how repellent Boris Johnson and his cabal were. However, is a few bad choices worth saying no MP can ever be ennobled again? Because that's where I have a problem, because there might be some really great ones in the past.
Well, Dame Harriet
Your Keir
Harman,
Starmer, he's a sir.
well, that was because of the Crown Prosecution Service.
Well, should he have to give that up if he becomes an MP? Say, like, sorry, I don't want my knighthood anymore?
I think he should have given it up. I think he should just be Keir Starmer. I think he should have given it up.
Interesting.
And I mean, Dame Harriet Harman. Now, I'm all for that, but that brings her into the House of Lords, doesn't it? That's an entirely different thing.
The honours is quite a confusing system because the peerage and honours are completely different, and there's all sorts of different honours you can get. But it's whether really, if you have a job where your job is to serve the community and serve the country, whether doing that should be honoured further with honours. But we're getting lots of messages in on this. Do give us a call. 0207 862 2222 is the number for your view. Should MPs and former MPs be given honours in this way? Rob on Twitter says, MPs getting honours just for doing their job, especially the ones who do it badly, are an abuse of the honours system. It's the 21st century. It's time that the public got to vote on the proposed list of people getting honours, and it stopped being for MPs and their mates. That's an interesting suggestion there, Cristo. How do you feel about that?
But then the argument could go even further. OK, what about a head teacher that gets an honour? Well, they have the honour of being a brilliant head teacher and serving their community. Are we going to honour them even more by being...
I think you have to go above and beyond your position, don't you?
And maybe that's the threshold we need for MPs. I'm not against that threshold being improved slightly.
But that recognition of a head teacher being knighted means that they get more public recognition, which is what we need. We need people who contribute to our society, people who run charities.
Alan Bates, he was just a post office worker,
Absolutely.
But he rose to the challenge of really holding the government and the post office to account. And look what he's managed to achieve. So maybe people look at the honours system and think that's exactly the person that we need to be honouring today. Pete from Lincolnshire, you're up first on this one. How do you feel about MPs getting honours?
To me, it makes no real difference who's getting the honour, because everybody is just doing their job. A footballer, a film star, a TV presenter, you or my son, they're all getting them because they are doing their job.
Well, no, I mean, hold on. You're not supposed to just get it for doing your job. You're supposed to get it for doing your job with excellence or going above and beyond your position. So I'm trying to think of an example of this. Anne Diamond got an honour, I can't remember what specific honour it was, but it was for her work in bringing awareness to SIDS and stillbirths and, SIDS. And so that wasn't necessarily for doing her job, that was going for above and beyond her position and using her profile for good.
So how does everybody else get it? Like they're saying Gareth Southgate, what's he done? He did his job as England manager and failed, and were they going to give him it?
Well, but I don't think he's got that, Pete. I know nothing about
football. They're wanting him to get it.
It's been suggested that he should get it.
They wanted him to get it before that final match, and everybody was saying, "Oh, if England win, he could." And then England didn't win, and he didn't get it, and he was out of a job. So that's the end of that. But it's very often people, as Storm said, who go above and beyond, and they're not just given it for being a great actress, but that often it's for the charity work that they do that often people don't know about. That a lot of people do extraordinary work that are unsung, and so therefore they should be sung, if you see what I mean.
Okay, so Nina isn't adverse to giving out honours, but Nina's adverse to giving out honours to MPs. But your feeling is, Pete, that the wrong people are getting it anyway, so what, just do away with it?
I can understand you saying if they've done something bad, as these MPs have done, then why should they be put in for it? I understand that. But just because they were an MP doesn't mean to say that they didn't go out and help people in their community and do it that way. So why shouldn't they get it?
Pete, I can't argue with you on that one. Thank you very much for your call. Mike from Durham, what do you think about that? There are MPs out there that will be going above and beyond their necessary duty as an MP, and those people should be honoured for doing just that.
I don't have a problem, but I believe it should be the people who vote via the internet in this modern age that should be picking who gets the honours. At the moment, it seems to be the people that have had the power in the past that are making the vote to say who gets it. Shouldn't there now be a list where the people can pick?
It's a very interesting concept, and actually one Rob on Twitter brought up already, that actually this should be a public vote. I don't know how many people would vote on it. There might be quite a few votes to be had there, but actually giving the public a say might just be the answer to stopping it feeling a bit like cronyism, feeling a bit like honours for your mates.
Yes, jobs for the boys. I was going to say, Mike, that's all very well and it's fine, and it will ultimately settle down. But then we've got to take the boating boat face, attitude into account for that, because there's going to be quite a lot of that, I would have thought.
Yes. Well, Mike, thank you very much for your call. All the same, thanks for all your calls.